As I've listened to the stories of thousands of women of all ages, in all kinds of stages, through the years, I've kept their stories locked in the vault of my heart. I feel as if they've been walking around with me all through these years. They've bothered me, they've prodded me, and sometimes kept me up at night. Ultimately, they've increased my passion to reframe and reimagine the powerful positions of mother and matriarch within the family system. I'm a problem solver, so I set out to find a way to perhaps change the trajectory of this silent and sad scenario about a dynamic yet untapped source of potential and purpose sitting in our homes and churches. It is time to come to the table, Heartlifters, and unleash the power of maternal presence into the world. Welcome to Mothering for the Ages, our 2025 theme here on today's Heartlift. I'm Janelle. I am your guide here on this heartlifting journey. I invite you to grab a pen, a journal, and a cup of something really delicious. May today's conversation give you clarity, courage, and a revived sense of camaraderie. You see, you're not on this journey alone. We are unified as Heartlifters and committed to bringing change into the world, one heart at a time. Welcome to this beautiful summer season. Just the sounds of the words, summer season. Gave me a big deep breath. Go ahead and take one with me. As we begin our summer series, we're going to continue all year long with our Mothering for the Ages and all kinds of stages and phases. And today we have with us a beautiful woman, inside and out, who is going to help us think about our bodies. I know. Go ahead, take that deep breath. She brings to us her book, The Good Food Solution, with good in parentheses. Meredyth is a nutritional therapy practitioner with a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling as well as theological and biblical foundations. She's the founder and owner of Karpos Wellness, where she combines her extensive knowledge of the body and mind to help clients of all ages, here we are, with health issues, trauma, anxiety, depression, and eating disorders, to find the root causes that may be driving their unwanted mental and physical symptoms. Whew. She believes, and you're going to hear it so passionately, that God created our bodies to know how to heal themselves. And she studies the brain and the gut to work with clients holistically from a biblical foundational perspective to achieve healing from the inside out. You can visit Meredyth at Karpos, Karpos, wellness.com. She and her husband live in Texas, and they just love hanging out with their two young sons. Meredyth and I recorded this moons ago, many moons ago, and I think it's just right on time. At least that's what my heart's trying to believe, because I should have published this a long time ago. But, you know, in the world of podcasting, I did not go to university to learn how to be a podcaster. It has just been jump in the water, try to learn how to swim, put on floaties, and I've made a million mistakes. We'll probably make a million more. But the blessing is I have had so many incredible thought leaders and luminaries bring their books to me, and I've recognized I cannot bring them all to you. So I have to figure out a way how to enjoy this bountiful feast of tremendous authors who are bringing these tremendous books and thoughts. And that's what this is really about. It's not about the books. It's not about really the writing process, although I'm an author, so I love that. But it is really about the stories under the stories and the words under the words. And I just love this work and passionate about it. And as I said, I didn't go to school to do this. I do it all myself. I'm a one-woman team. But today, you're in for a treat. So welcome with me, Meredyth, as we really talk about body shaming and learning how to love the body that we are living in currently. I'm in my 7th decade. I have serious struggles with the middle of my body that just seems to have showed up as I turned 60. And I think all my years of pageantry and dance and theater and being on stage, being in the public eye, I definitely deal with body shaming, and I tried to guard my 2 girls from it, and they seem to be doing so well, and I'm so miraculously grateful to God for helping me not put that on them. And they've said to me, Mom, I've never heard you talk about your body so much as now. Just love your body, accept your body. So now the tides have turned, and they are encouraging me to just love this body that I am living in. So here we go. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Please, 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 let's have a conversation that keeps on going here on Instagram and over on Heartlifter Central Substack. Here we go. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the show, my new friend, Meredyth. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey, yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Forgive my raspy thing. It's not my new vocalization. I just am actually battling the thing that's going around, but I was so happy to have this slot of time with you.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you so much for carving it out. I've already told my community all about you because I just want our time to be our time, and so that we can get to the heart of what you do. Your newest book is The Good Food Solution, and you have good in parentheses. And as an English nerd and an author myself, I'm so curious why there's a parentheses around that.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of twofold. There is meaning behind it, but also I really wanted that to stand out. Like,
it does.
When someone puts their eyes on it, I wanted them to see, it just kind of stops them to see, that's interesting. So that initial kind of, all right, let's stop here. And then behind it is the idea and the hope and the dream to have onlookers or people who are interested to stop and think about the word good. In the book, we talk about good as far as it relates to food and how we nourish our bodies, but then good because we serve a good Father, and the solution is the good food that the good Father has provided to nourish and fuel our bodies wholly and completely. So yeah, it's just kind of
so good. Good is a word very near and dear to my heart. Because a few years back now, God redefined good in my life, that word. I asked him for something good that morning and everything crashed that afternoon.
Wow. Yeah. I love when
I'll put that link in the show notes because my community already knows, but for those of you who might be joining, because Meredyth is with us, I definitely know if I was walking around a big box or Barnes & Noble or Target or whatever, I would stop because I would go, what does she mean by good? Okay, so take it a step further. I'm so curious as to your passion. A lot of what we talk about here in this community is where does passion come from?
Sure.
How do we know it's to be acted upon? When is it a passion led by God or just like me, a visionary who gets a lot of ideas? So where on earth did Meredyth decide I want to foray into talking about nutritional health, holistic health? I'm so curious.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. Talking about it, I think so. Starting there initially.
Starting there.
Um,
Yes.
so couple things. I'll start with sharing kind of where I'm at now and what I do and a little bit of the backstory as
Perfect.
to how that happened, because I think that will help give context.
Yes.
So I have been a holistic nutritionist and I do all the clinical lab testing for clients one-on-one for nearly a decade, over a decade at this point. And a few years ago, I was realizing with my clients, the work that I was doing with them with nutrition, we were seeing, okay, the impacts of health are far greater when they also have that emotional and mental support. So I kept finding myself referring clients out for, talk therapy, mental health care,
Yes.
stress management,
Yes.
like tools that I at the time was unable to go beyond my own opinionated capacity. And
Yes.
I was continuously referring clients out, and then it would over and over, time and time again, enhance our work together
Mm.
around the physical supportive healing around the body. And so I just started noticing this trend
Mm.
in other people outside of myself, because I'll get there in a second, that when we look at healing, when we look at the way that God created our bodies and wired our bodies for healing, it's not just the body and the mind, it's both always. And it just
Yes.
it just kind of depends on where a person's at, where they're coming from, what they've, dealt with. How, do they have a
Sure.
history of trauma? Do they have a history of, these stored experiences that they
Mm.
need to allow a place for processing and release, whether that's with the Lord, whether that's with people, whether that's with trusted community, and with also someone who can look at their lab work and say, okay, let's increase your nutrients here, and
Yes.
let's look at all of your let's look at your gut, let's look at your microbiome, because your
Yeah.
microbiome actually fuels your brain, and it's going to make or break in some cases how often and how well you're able to kind of show up for your own life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I do that. So a couple years ago, when I started realizing that, I started going to school, working towards a master's in clinical and mental health counseling with a master's in theological and biblical studies.
Why
So
don't you
pull
just put it all
in.
on there? Oh my heavens.
I know some days I'm like, am I crazy? No, but
No,
no,
you're
I
just
can't.
hungry.
It's just I cannot get away from any of this, and
I know.
you can't separate any of it. You
Mm-mm.
absolutely just can't.
Mm-mm.
And so I love working with a team of people. I love working with OBs and PCPs and mental health counselors and family therapists and
Mm-mm.
trauma-informed therapists. And, we work together as a team of people to support people on their own healing journey. But I am like, okay, what can I, like, what all can I know to at
Yeah.
least help within the capacity that I'm able to? So that's kind of what I do now, and pull in that faith piece of how
Mm.
did God create our bodies? What is he saying about rest? What is he saying about your body? What is he saying about food? What is the theology of feasting? What's the theology of fasting?
Oh.
That how does that combine with how he wired our bodies for healing? And I
Mhm.
think what led me to that is several years ago, early mid, like, I don't remember. I would say probably, but in the mid 2000, like 2010, 11, somewhere around in
Mm.
there, I was actually going to a nutritionist myself, and I was also in a season of my own therapy, my own therapeutic work.
Mm.
And I just started noticing I was able to better show up for myself. I was able to wake up for my
Mm.
quiet time.
Mm.
Once I started implementing all of the nutritional aspects of healing, I was like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
And
Oh.
I felt that, I saw that. And so that kind of started the drive. Have always been into food and nutrients and learning what I can there.
I was
But
curious
once
about
I
that.
saw the
Yeah.
impact, yeah,
Hmm.
of that in my life, I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to work with people one-on-one, because around the time people were noticing and they were saying, hey, write me a meal plan, write me a workout. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So let's go get some kind of certification or something. So that's kind of how it
Right.
started.
Okay.
And
It was just a
um,
hunger. It was like a
yeah,
yearning. It was like you saw. I
absolutely.
always love when it's organic in the sense
Yes.
that your passion meets, the needs of others, and then all of a sudden you realize I want to know more. Right. So truly, just truly treating the whole person. And I really love what you just said about being with a team
Mhm.
because I have done that and then I've been on my own. And I do know that the more depth that you go into with working with trauma-informed clients, a team is vital.
Mhm.
It's vital for the caregiver, for the
Mhm.
clinician, for the therapist, as well as the client. Because, like you
Mhm.
said, it's like, well, when did you last have your blood work? Or when did you have the metabolism
Sure.
check? Or when did you have this? Or when did you have that?
Yeah. This is
So
so
I applaud that. I'm so, so stinking proud of you because you
Thank
look
you.
so young,
Thank you.
and you're just putting everything in the right place. So then, how did that passion
Mhm.
lead you to then become an author in the midst of all the
Yeah.
master study and a mama and a wife and all the things that you are?
Yeah. Well, my first degree of all time was English. I've always had a passion for words.
Oh,
Um, yeah. I've kind of always had that in me
hmm,
to write a book. And
yeah.
that's just, that's always been somewhere in the depths of me.
Yeah.
And I think it just in God's timing, in the right
Mhm.
timing, in general, like just with career, it all just sort of unfolded as it should.
Yes.
And I think practically speaking, though, I launched a gut healing protocol just
Uh-huh.
casually, like on the
Yes.
internet. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this group. If anyone wants to join, and I had like 300 or 400 people sign up, and I
I
was
would
like, I
today.
was
Yes.
like, oh,
I
y'all
know.
want to do this?
Yeah, I was gonna,
So,
that's all. I was like, I want to get to that for sure. And so here we
um,
are. Here we are because I want to sign up today. Yeah. So you
yeah,
just
okay, let's do it.
randomly put out there, okay, I'm going to do this gut health
Yeah,
thing. And you
yeah,
have
it was.
hundreds of people. So
Yes,
the
yes.
hunger
And I
is
had people
there.
share and share and share. And I was like,
Mm,
okay, so there might be something here
yeah.
as far as like interest, because I'd already been working with clients. I knew my clients were passionate. I knew that. I just didn't realize
Hmm.
that anybody else had it on their radar as much
Yeah.
as I did. You know how it is being in an industry,
Yep.
that's what you think about, that's what you know, but you don't
Yeah.
realize like looking
Hmm.
out
Sure.
other people who are interested slash available, whatever. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I launched that. We went through that, had a lot of great feedback, and
Nice.
then I had a lot of interest for one-on-one clients, which is like one of my favorite things that I do. But
Oh,
as you know, working with clients, you can only serve so many people per week.
exactly.
So that's kind of how the book birthed.
Good. Mine too.
Um,
Yep. Same
so
thing.
yeah,
Right.
so it was like, okay, how can we at least while you're on the wait list, or if you
Yes.
are in your own therapeutic process, you can
Mhm.
take this book with you, work through some of the stuff, because at the end of the chapters, there are some questions, some deep
Mhm.
dives that you can work through with, your own practitioner, your own counselor, or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I
So
love
in the
that.
meanwhile, while we're waiting to work together, at least put something in people's hands so that they can
Hmm.
at least start gathering the knowledge and the information. That's kind of how it is with
Beautiful.
her, and
It's
it's coming out
beautiful.
coming out this year. So
I love it. So I know that you can't divulge all that's in the gut protocol
right.
because we need to take the course or get the book, which Heartlifters will. And but why I know the gut is the third brain.
Mhm.
We've just had so much advancement
Right,
in
right.
the field of interpersonal neurology, all of these things. So we
Yeah.
know, right? We know the gut has 500 billion. Am I right? Neural cells, and the
Something
brain has 100 billion.
a ton.
It's
Yeah.
5 times what
Yes.
the brain has.
Yeah.
And that's critical to me. And as I'm aging, and I have a lot of heart lifters in the boat with me,
Hmm.
I'm seeing the gut become more precarious and
Hmm.
something that I have to really pay attention to.
Hmm.
How did that evolve? I'm asking a
Right.
lot of evolving questions today because I
Mhm.
think it's really important. Like, was that in your own gut? Did it was like it was just hearing all of your other clients or just your
I
personal
think it was,
research?
yeah, I think it was a combo. It
Hmm.
was definitely a combo. Just the more I learned, the more I researched, the more I experimented, the more I saw my own healing, the more I
Hmm.
saw healing in people that I was working with. That's when I realized that's when I started realizing, okay, we absolutely cannot separate the mind and the gut. So let's look
No.
at like how they are connected, and just like you're talking about that neurotransmitter pathway, like
Hmm.
our brain talks to our gut, and our gut talks to our brain, and
It
our
does.
nervous system is constantly scanning our environment to tell us what to tell the brain and the gut to tell each other.
Yes.
So it's all working together. So your nervous system and your brain is a lot of what you're doing in that mental health, emotional health, that spiritual health work. Uh,
Yes.
being still, being quiet. Let's process
Mm.
how to emotionally regulate. But then when you're in those state, also known as the parasympathetic state,
Hmm.
um,
Rest and
then your
digest.
brain, exactly, then your brain is able to send positive signals through the neurotransmitters that are
Hmm.
connected from the spinal cord all the way to the gut to say, okay, I feel safe enough to digest. Let's start there. And then your gut environment can scan and say, okay, I have the capacity to absorb nutrients and eliminate toxins, or I don't. And so, just as the brain talks to the gut can talk back. So, how we're fueling our bodies, the foods that we're eating, you know,
Mm.
billions and trillions of microbes make up our gut environment in that garden of flowers and
Yes.
weeds, and we want them to be balanced. We don't want to pull out all the weeds. We don't want to pull out all the flowers. You don't want to go to a garden and do that. You want to balance it out. You want that ecosystem.
Synergy. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it
Synergistic.
to be
Hmm.
unique and
Yep.
exactly. And so you have that, and you're eating, what your body needs, which is not the same for every single person.
Oh, I need you to say
Necessarily,
that again. I really,
it's
really do, because
yeah.
that is a truth
Hmm.
that is not said enough.
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
how many women go, oh, I'm doing this and this is how,
Yep.
I mean, right now we are in a weight loss explosion with the drugs and all of these things and all these
Oh
celebrities
goodness,
losing
yes.
so much weight.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to do that and lose 20 pounds if they need
Hmm.
to? But there's just so much emphasis on that. And I feel like you just hit the nail on the head because it comes back down to our personhood,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
To our identity.
Yes.
I am different than Mary Jo, who's sitting on my right, and Nancy on my left.
Hmm.
It's not a one thing. It's not a one
Right.
pill fixes everybody.
Right. Right. And I think
Huh.
that's hard. That's hard for people to grasp because it just is, rightfully so, I mean, I
Hmm.
get it. I understand that.
Yep.
It's what we've known, it's what we've heard, it's what we've seen. But whenever you pull back and you think about everything that makes up who you are,
Hmm.
so your genetic predisposition, the lifestyle that influences your genes and whether or not you can turn them on and off, the foods that you're eating.
The lifestyle, okay, there were two things. I really have to stop
Okay,
because
okay.
I know that, I'll just forget. So I don't want to forget.
Well, yeah, that's great.
Two things,
Yes.
maybe three. One is you talked about the gut. Actually, I like to personify things. So
Okay.
the gut sync, especially my body. Body keeps the
Hmm.
score. So I like to talk to
Hmm.
my
Yes.
body and embody it and go, hi, how you doing today? I love you. You gaining that 6 pounds, girl. I don't know. So we have to feel safe. You said the word. You said the word that is nearest and dearest to my heart and my community's heart about feeling safe. Because why did I not know this? Why did I not know this in my 20s and 30s? Why I was
Hmm.
always on edge, why I was anxious, why I was nervous. There was nothing available.
Hmm.
What does that actually mean? And what does that look like? Because I have a lot of people, a lot of clients. I've written the last two books, and people go, I don't know if I agree with the fact that my childhood atmosphere in my home, that the emotional, mental atmosphere in my home had any effect on me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
will pound the table over that one. So I'd love to
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
your voice on that. What does that
Yeah.
mean? What does that look like?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Great question. Definitely. So our bodies are constantly scanning our environment to tell our bodies
Hmm.
whether or not we are safe, meaning,
Mm.
you know, um, are we maxed out stress wise? So for example, here's a practical for example.
Perfect. Love it.
We are driving in the car, we're going down the road, and you look up, or you're looking out the window or whatever, and then you look and suddenly someone in front of you, even if they're like 5 feet or whatever, and they slam on their brakes, and then you slam on your brakes, and your heart races and your cortisol rises, and that's your body in that moment is like syncing up to say, hey, I'm not safe, like do something. That's what you want. That's what we know as the sympathetic state.
Yes.
So that's where our body, God gave us that
He
protective
did.
mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
and he did that on purpose for us to be able to respond quickly to
Right.
threats, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. And
Yep.
threats can come in all forms of ways. They can come in like a simple explanation as what I just said. They can come through relational trauma,
Mhm.
abuse. They can come through food sensitivities. They can come through toxins in the
Yes.
environment. They can come through lack of water. They can come through multiple different ways. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the things that our body needs in order to optimally function. If our body feels threatened that it's not going to receive that, then our bodies kind of protect, if that makes sense.
Oh, of course. It's going to stand
So,
up and go, whoa. Right.
right. So everybody's capacity for threats or safety or stress is different. So that's what's unique about the healing process as well. Because all of those things combined in life experiences, it's like, where does the body, that you have that experience, and it's like, are you actively working to release that cortisol? Like, are you taking a moment? Are you practicing breathing? That's a massive one. Are you
Yes.
practicing breathing? Are you practicing mindfulness? Are you practicing connecting with God's creation and grounding and sunlight
No,
and stuff? Because
Meredith.
sunlight
Yes.
sunlight will reset our circadian rhythm to get us on the path of that parasympathetic living. And it's like all of these different things that are
Mm,
just constantly saying, hey, give me some sort of outlet to provide safety, because all of these things that you experience impact your gut microbiome.
you do.
Um,
That's
and
why
your
you get a
gut
stomach
microbiome,
ache or you get this or that or the other.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So, yeah, if you get nervous before a meeting or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that, you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta, run to the bathroom or whatever it is.
Yes.
What is actually happening, which I think that you also really find this fascinating, is that from our spinal cord to our gut, we have those messengers called neurotransmitters that actually
Mm-hmm.
loop around their little tiny, tiny little like finger thread things, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
look at it like that. They're actually wrapped around the entire GI tract from top to bottom, and they're constantly scanning internally and externally to say, like, what's the message? What's the signal? Are we safe? Are we not? And
Oh,
the
gosh,
body
that's
doesn't
so
feel
good.
safe or in
Wow.
that parasympathetic mode, the neurotransmitters will actually grip themselves around the GI tract and stop food from moving through optimally. And so if you ever have those feelings after a meal, like if you ever notice like you're eating on
Mm.
the go or eating in your car or
Ooh.
eating like in front of the TV or eating, running around chasing your kids, and then 30
Yes.
minutes later, you're like, I cannot function because my stomach is in knots, or you
Yes.
feel bloated or whatever. It's because the
Yeah.
body prioritizes digestion so much that when you're eating,
Ah.
it will actually not digest until you get into that parasympathetic state. It holds on to the food in the GI tract. And then when you get to a position where you are safer or calmer, then the those neurotransmitters will release their grip, food will move through, and your body can digest. And that's how it's all kind of working synergistically.
I am gobsmacked, as I say. There's no English word that does it.
It's really cool. I think it's so cool how God made us.
I think it's just, mm, I mean, I have a condition called achalasia. So my
Mm,
esophagus does not work. It stopped working
mhm,
in
mm,
2015, just
yeah.
completely. So I had to have uh, experimental surgery. And so it means
Wow.
failure to relax, achalasia, which is
Wow.
the
Okay.
minute the doctor said, yeah, I have achalasia, it means failure to relax. I was like, it's funny. I can't tell anybody what it means in here, because they'll
Yeah.
just laugh at me.
Mm,
But it's not funny. And
yeah.
so I don't think in all of my history with GI and all of this, time with this, and I've been a dancer my whole life. So I've been
Mm,
holistic. I raised my children
right.
holistically, homeopathy, all of the holistic things that people thought I was
Mm,
crazy. I milled their bread. I did all those things. I have never really heard anyone teach on the safety issue. And I think that's why I'm kind of like pitching a tent here. And also that the digestive process needs that safety. We need to be in a parasympathetic state in order for my food to do what God created it to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I correct on that? Can I
Absolutely.
I'm just, it makes
Absolutely.
me, I already pound the table with everyone in my life and in my practice, for stillness, silence, and solitude. But I am telling you, it is just the last thing most want to do
It's hard.
because it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't want to go sit under a tree or hug a tree, or it just
Mhm.
sounds so woo woo. And I'm like, but Jesus created woo woo. Like he just
Right.
did. He created it. I'm an aromatherapist. I work with the sense of smell to heal childhood trauma. It's like
Yeah.
who knows? That's crazy.
Right. Right.
But so I just really wanted to make sure that we got that piece of information
Mhm.
on our gut and on our digestion, because I think no matter what you put in your body, then, but if I hear what you're saying,
Mhm.
no matter what good food I put in my body, if I'm in a, you know, not in a mindful, peaceful state, perhaps when I'm eating,
Hmm.
my body's not going to digest it well.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
I
So
think I
that's
just had a
why.
massive life shift.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
Meredyth, thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, I feel like that happens to me every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, 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 every
Oh,
day. So
yeah, I'm
I'm with you.
sure. I can't
Yeah, I'm with you.
wait to see what unfolds in your life, Meredyth.
Mm,
You're being so faithful. If I can just take a moment, being
thank you.
so faithful as a young woman to put your hand and put your mind and put your time and energy into something that's so beneficial
Mm,
for the kingdom of God. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
So then, that was one. Second, which I don't want to move from that, but second is your subtitle is what really got me initially, because perhaps my second passion is about shame.
Okay.
And so your subtitle is A Shame-Free.
Yeah.
Well, Lord God Almighty, if I could just become a shame-free person by the day I go to be with Him would be amazing. A shame-free nutritional journey to food freedom, spiritual nourishment, and
Mhm.
whole body health.
Mhm.
Wow.
I want people to know that where they are didn't just happen overnight, and
Correct.
their gut microbiome or their inability to see physical results or their, mental health needs are not anything to feel shame about or to feel
Mhm.
like they put themselves into this place and, there's either no hope or nothing will work or anything like that. I want to really just kind of convey that and share that in a way that brings people hope that no, this isn't another fad diet, but
No,
let's
it's
talk
not.
about not really even the word but. It's not another
Uh-huh.
fad diet. Also, at the same time,
Yep.
it is a very unique way to approach physical healing, and it doesn't just include food. I think people are quick when I don't want to make assumptions about anybody's life, but it
I
would
like
it would be
that.
something that I
Beautiful.
could assume that or think or um
Surmise, maybe
yeah.
surmise. Like,
Yeah, when someone is like, let's say they have a physical goal, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this plan, and it's gonna work and it's gonna be perfect. But they're forgetting the other couple parts of who they are, which
hmm
are massively impactful to their ability to physically heal. And
hmm
so I want people to know there's no shame in that and no shame
yes.
in, okay, if you've tried something that doesn't work, hey,
Mhm.
that's fine. If you've tried things, try it on. If it doesn't fit, put it away.
No
Um,
shame. No shame in it. It doesn't
none,
fit right
none of
now.
that.
Right now, it doesn't fit.
Yes. So the hope and the dream is to bring others into this place of peace and just share. Okay, here, like whatever you're bringing to the table, whatever you've come to the book with in your mind, in your body, and your soul, let's just talk about, how did God make your body?
Mm-hmm.
What are some potential reasons that we're here? What are some potential
Mm-hmm.
obstacles? And it really lets the reader kind of explore those things on their own for themselves. And they get to a place of, okay, maybe these elements are, the different combinations of mind, body, soul that I can like pull into my life practically wherever they are, however they can do that. We don't leave out the faith piece of, okay, God
Yes.
created our bodies to know how to heal themselves if they're given the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach people, okay, here's the science of it. Here's
Yes.
exactly what your gut is doing. Here's how God made your gut. And then let's talk about the theology
Mm.
of food and what,
Just beautiful.
God gave us one thing to show up for our lives.
You did.
Um, and to fully like fuel our bodies and feel our best, and that's food. And it's the very first thing that the enemy uses to be like, nope, we're gonna not feel well from the gate.
Wow.
And so
So, so true.
I just want to teach people about what is food? Where did we start? How did we get here? Why is it so hard? Why doesn't a fad diet work? And so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that there's so many things that people have known, they've read, they've tried on, they've,
Oh, yeah,
experimented with, and
for sure.
it's exhausting, it's tiring, and I want this to be a place of reprieve and hope and just say, goodness, wherever you've been,
Mm.
let's look at it all and let's just ask God for that invitation into our lives and into our healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
then
Mm.
I lay out the steps of like, how do we do that?
Mm. So powerful. So, so good. Mm. So, Meredith, for just as we close, which, yeah, so tough.
So tough. I love this
So
conversation.
tough. So tough because it's so good. Got to get this book. Got to begin this practice. I just think it's a practice. I think what you're
Sure.
offering is giving me another tool for myself, for my
Exactly.
family, and for my legacy and for my clients. But I think where do we then? This is always such a tough question because I
Mhm.
feel like when we're talking mind, body, spirit, it
Sure.
is multi-layered, right? It's synergistic. So, okay, what's the first step? Oh my goodness, that's such a big question.
Yeah.
But for those of us that are here,
Hmm.
yes, get the book, read the book. But where I have a first step in mind, I want to see if it matches your first step. Where might be a very good, okay, I've cut off my whatever I'm listening to the podcast on, and I'm just sitting in silence going, everything she said is just resonating with me.
Hmm.
Where might I go from there?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's important to allow yourself the freedom to ask questions to yourself.
Good.
Um,
I love it. Self-interest, like
and
introspection.
absolutely.
What do I need most?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I would do is ask the Lord into this area of your life and to shed light and to bring insight. Um, and
That's
then
beautiful.
where in your life are you maybe expanding or exposed to too many areas of stress? Stress could be, again, like we mentioned, food, food sensitivities or, intolerances for some people. It can be
Yeah.
environmental toxins. It can be that our water needs to be filtered. It can also be
Hmm.
relationships that are not
Hmm.
serving us well.
Oh,
How are you
yes.
relating to people? Looking at boundaries. We talk about that in the book, like looking at healthy
Good.
boundaries, giving and taking, giving and receiving appropriate, healthily looking at the love of God and giving and receiving that appropriately. And looking at
That's
all
it.
these things, like where is the stress?
Yeah.
Where are the boundaries?
Hmm.
And really start asking yourself, okay, in what ways can I relieve some of these areas of stress? If that is for some people, maybe we need to leave the office an hour earlier, or maybe we need to
Yeah.
start, stop eating processed foods, or maybe we
Hmm.
need to, it's
Go
not
to
an
bed
all,
earlier
yeah,
or, yeah, just they're
get
very
a
simple,
bedtime
right?
routine, like
Yeah.
get a moisturizer that makes you feel good and puts you in a
Yes.
safe space. Like, there's just so
Yes.
many things, whatever makes you feel safe and emotionally regulated, start there, because that's where you're going to start seeing your body and your mind and your soul begin to receive the invitation you're giving it, and just slow down and
there we go.
in whatever way.
Notice, be aware.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be a
Yeah.
noticer.
Be a noticer. Great book, by the way. I'll put that link. There's a book called The Noticer that's so good by Andy Andrews. It's so good.
I don't even know that.
It's so good.
Oh, I
He's
need to
such a
read it.
brilliant writer, but it is. It's called The Noticer. And I just
Oh,
think, yeah,
cool.
if you really want to, in therapy world, we would call it attunement and awareness. It's
Yeah.
like being a noticer is what I say
Mhm.
is where you start. Like
Yeah.
I, whew, I recently asked my clinical psychologist, my therapist, whatever, I just went back to therapy myself.
Mm.
And I literally asked him this question. Is it possible for those of us who have been born into childhood trauma? Because you're also talking about people that have been in a traumatic childhood situation, little t, middle T, big T. And trauma is just anytime the emotions are too big for our body to carry. So we disembody and we find other ways to manage and cope. Is it really possible for someone like myself, who's been born into that in the womb, to actually ever be able to access a healthy nervous system? Because I have sincerely been doing so much of my own personal work, and it just seems like I can't come away from hypervigilance on the
Mhm.
cellular level. And he was like, absolutely, absolutely. And you're telling me the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people are. Like, I guess maybe my world, because I work so much in the trauma informed world, I've just had clients get to a moment where they go, I don't know what this feeling is. Like one sitting right over here one day, just leaning back and going, I don't know what this feeling is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's peace.
Mm.
I think it's peace. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
ease.
Mm-hmm.
And she went, oh my gosh, I don't ever want it to go away.
Yeah, right.
So at that moment, that's where I say, sit with it, drink it, let it pour over. We're not talking, just let
Yeah.
absorb it. And, like I'm looking at my front porch, the daffodils are blooming. I'm just going to go sit on my front porch. I'm going to give my body 5 minutes, take some deep breaths,
Mm-hmm.
look at the beautiful daffodillas, cut them, bring them into the home. I think that's
So
what you're
good.
inviting us into,
So good. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And I think just as a little, like just one quick little
No, give us.
nourishing your body on a cellular level and your nervous system, there are physical things that we know as therapists that we can
Mhm.
do, therapist in training, myself, that
Give
we
us a
can
few if you
do.
wouldn't mind, just to remind us.
Sure. So the breathing
Hmm.
techniques, and you can do the grounding, you can do mindfulness,
Hmm.
tapping.
I love
Um,
tapping.
those things can really help, like in the immediate physical, but there's also supplemental herbs that you can bring in, and
Hmm.
there are supplements for your cells and your cell membranes that defend against unwanted pathogens and seed oils and stuff,
Yes.
that come against our cells. So even like thinking about, okay, we from the ground up are the very bottom core of who we are, our cells,
Yes.
nourishing that from the ground up. If we can't get all the way to the cells in the immediate, you can supplement in the meanwhile while you're working on it. And I think that
Yes.
can help bridge a gap as well. That's why,
Yes.
and we have some of those in the book too. So,
And on your website. Your website is so thorough. It's so good.
thank
It's just
you. I
really so
appreciate that.
helpful. And that's what we need in this day and age is practical
Sure.
help. And it's not just la-di-da. And it's just very, very practical.
Sure.
And I'll just give you all a tip that I found out recently. You may already know lemon balm tea is kind of like nature's Xanax. So I was like, what,
Okay.
6 boxes of
Okay.
that? And
There you
so,
go.
and even, on the general, like I had someone say the other day to me that trauma is really like the new mission field.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
thought, wow, I know that in my core, but to hear
Mhm.
someone actually say that, because the
I didn't
whole
know.
world seems, there's a PBS masterpiece, World on Fire. It's really good, by the way. And I just think that the world is on fire,
Yeah.
and we do not have to be. And so regardless, Heartlifter, just lean in for a moment. I know what Meredyth is saying, that no matter what situation you're in, and sometimes good stress can even bring hypervigilance,
Absolutely.
you know, but no matter what state you're in, no matter what place you're in, if there's a relationship you can't get away from, you can. I like to say the lesson I've learned the most is I have to take care of the three most important people in my life: me, myself, and I.
Mm,
2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years, I would have never said that because that sounds extremely selfish.
mm. So necessary, though.
Who else is going to do it?
Right.
So, Meredyth, thank you from the deepest part of my core, from my gut.
You're so welcome. I love being here. Appreciate it.
I love you being here. And thank you for being a Daniel 12:3 woman, radiant, helping all of us learn how to live a righteous life. I'm just grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Meredyth writes, our bodies hold on to the unprocessed events we experience. The resulting thoughts, feelings, and emotions are first captured in our brains and then felt throughout our entire bodies, even if we do not recognize this happening. The body is so smart, and there is constant communication between systems. The brain, gut, and immune system signal back and forth all day long. When something happens to us that is traumatic or too much to process at once, the body prioritizes survival, activating the flight or fight response while holding on to our pain until the body feels safe enough to deal with it. Lean in. Just as we learned that our bodies need to be in a parasympathetic state to optimally digest food, the same is true of our emotions. Our minds cannot process them until it feels safe to do so. We begin this process one simple practice at a time. Practice awareness, practice noticing, practice your breathing techniques, box breathing. In 4, out 4. Practice sitting for a spell, listening to the birds, cutting off the TV, your phone, and practice feeling safe inside your body. Let's keep this conversation going. It is imperative, and I want this to be a summer of calm. I'm excited to announce my very first June online group coaching cohort. This is a great place for you to start, Heartlifter. June 10th, 17th, 24th, from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will meet via Zoom, and we will learn and meet a new best friend. Her name is Calm. Please join me. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time.